Hey, what's up, guys? So I won yesterday, and I'm going against Dementos. I've definitely seen his name before, but I've never gone against him before. So this is where we are. The winner's side is Poo Poo, so I'm not quite sure why me and Poo Poo didn't match. But however they got this thing figured, they got it figured. Oh, I guess me and Serpus were tied, so Serpus must have bigger TCP. And it doesn't, I do, so I don't quite understand how that matchmaking went. So maybe somebody can help me understand what happened there. But this is the lower half of the matchmaking, and so I'm back in the top 100 for the moment. We'll see how that goes as far as trying to stay in the top 100. A win today would help that a lot. So here's Dementos stats, and here are my stats. I didn't change much on defense from yesterday. The big change was really just moving Alpha Flight back to room 2. And I decided to try hard light on room 3 because I think that makes the Apoc counter a little bit harder. And so that puts Pavr back in the 4, so that makes the new warriors after the double sack a bit harder. Even though I do believe he probably has Odin on offense, so we'll double check that in a minute. Still trying Odin on defense. And gonna try the out of time full team in 6 and see if they can sack some efficiency. This is what my opponent has on defense. So another Black Knight Illuminati. Only this time he's got Black Bolt, and he doesn't have a lot of his strikers, so that could help. We'll see how that goes. I'm gonna try the same counter as I was able to take Moon Knight to 3 diamonds. And we'll see if that helps. I get what he's trying to do in 2, so we'll see how that works. I think the same as yesterday with room 3, I'd have to sack it and try Mercs, Ares on that. Definitely the Weaver in the Spider Society defense with Mephisto as a stop the Odin one-shot, so I get what he's doing there. And then the other 2 rooms are pretty standard to what you've seen me do before. So let's go ahead and get into this and see how it goes, guys. So I'm going to try this again because it's a similar room. Only difference is Black Bolt instead of the Reed Richards here. And the goal is to go in with the sack and try to pull all the abilities, especially the Shuri ult. The problem is that, and I'm going to put it on times 2 because I'm looking to see what's being used by the Illuminati. And I think it's a strategy not to make them all strikers, because what happens is it delays their attacks. So you get more pings from Black Bolt, and then you're not having the Shuri ult come up as fast. And I think that's what happened once before when I tried to sack one time and I walked into a Shuri ult. And on that particular battle, I was using the Superior 6 Old Man Logan. And so I'm not sure that would even beat this. But for sure, when Shuri ulted first, Old Man Logan was killed, and so it just didn't work. And so that's why this is going so slow, because I want to see, and I never saw Shuri do her ult. And so I wasn't sure what to do here. I said, well, I guess I will sack it again and see how it goes. And so I did. So I went in, and I said, well, what I'll do is I'll just stop it, or if I need to stop it, after Shuri does her ult. And so I did that. But the thing is I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember who had another ult. So I stopped here and I thought about it, and I said, well, let me just let one more move go here. And so I let it play one more time, and I said, okay, it looks like that's a basic, so let's just stop, and then we'll see how it goes. And so I was in a lot of discussion last night about the counter that worked yesterday, and I said, well, it's possible it could work with Wong because Agatha would have much more barrier. And she does. Actually, the entire team has more survivability. But that just doesn't matter because it appears that if you don't have Blade, then they're going to target Moon Knight. And without those two, the Moon Knight and the Agatha, and of course the Apoc, then you have a problem. So if you go in with Moon Knight, you have 4 potential threats instead of 3. And I think that makes a big difference. As you'll see this play out, Moon Knight is just taken out of the fight very early on. And he's really focused on pretty seriously. So there's no chance of him really doing anything to help the team. And because the team is slower, I don't know if the team is really even faster with Blade, but the team is definitely slow. So Agatha never takes a turn. And I'm just going to let you guys see how this plays out because it was a learning lesson for me. I said, okay, well, if you do try this counter again, you have to go in with Blade and hope that you can make it work. So I wasn't sure if this could work with the dorm. And actually, I jumped in and I didn't even see the dorm, so that was a mistake. And as I started going, I said, oh Lord, they got a dorm. And my hope was to whittle them down enough to the permakill to work. And so I go in as normal, but I think what happens here is the focus I'm putting on the Scientist Supreme in the beginning. And as you'll see this play out, and I'm just going to let it play, I'm not going to talk too much until, because I went back in a second time. It appears that with a dorm present, you're going to have a real problem with the Nimrod and the Sentinel. So the targeting is very different. Now, I'm not saying that Scientist Supreme and LDS aren't threats. They really are. But if you can't go in and permakill, which I was hoping I could permakill, and it's like, well, the Nimrod and the Scientist Supreme and even the Sentinel were just still too strong for that to even work. Then, and my thought here was to kill LDS, then the targeting is wrong because now they still have revives and they still have a potential to revive with Scientist Supreme. And you'll see here, this is where the Sentinel takes off. So I just want you guys to see how this plays out. So I go back in because I'm not sure I can even win now. I dropped this room. I'm like, well, I don't know how this goes when you have your back to heavy defense and really what just looks like an offensive season. So I said, let's try it again because learn experience. And so I go in and the bot is on the other side, which is fine because my thought is I'm gonna do the spread off Dorn. And so it goes as well as I could hope for. Now Nimrod still does what Nimrod does, but at this point, I'm like, well, let's put the target on the LDS, and we can see if we can make sure the blinds land, and we can try to get them down. So I'm like, okay, here's a chance for the perma kill to maybe kill LDS and Nimrod. And so this time around, I'm like, no matter what, I'm going to kill the Sentinel, because what I'm seeing here is maybe a Superior 6 can one-shot this, maybe not. But if you're strapped and you kill the Sentinel, then I think there's a lot of other teams you can go in with and clean this up. So I said, let's just see how this goes. New Warriors are out of gas. There's no way they're going to kill this team with the new stats. So at this point, it's just like, well, let's just see what you can do. I was able to kill them the one time. And I don't even know if that matters because, they don't get the revive if I didn't kill them one time. So it's like, just try to get in there. But at this point, Scientist Supreme healed them up. The stats are too big now. And New Warriors is just not putting enough damage because they're out of gas. By the time they get back over to their ults, of course they'd be dead. And so like, well, we'll just try to go in, we'll see what happens. And I'll clean this up. I have plenty left over because I wasn't able to clear room 1. And so my thought is probably Superior 6. I was going to use them somewhere else. I actually was going to use them on the Mephisto room, but it's not necessary that I do. And then as I thought about it, I said, well, maybe I could have still beat this team with Superior 6 because the bot would not have been there. But at the end of the day, it's a learning experience. And so since I have Apoc, I'm like, well, I can one-shot this room. So we'll just do Apoc with the Mercs. And as you guys have seen this before, even though they have the Pavr in here, and the Pavr kind of disrupts the Old Man Logan a bit, Old Man Logan is strong enough to take those hits. Now, perhaps I should have put Apoc in the middle. So that's what I think I'll do next time, because at the end of the day, Docking will revive. And we want to make sure Old Man Logan revives. And the idea is to make sure that I have Apoc and or hopefully both Old Man Logan. But it worked out fine. So special is up. I'm like, who do I stun? I said, nah, better stun a Gladiator, because if he specials, it could kill Apoc. And I still need Apoc to get in there. And I want a Falcon Punch. And I'm not really sure who to Falcon Punch, if it should be the Pavitra. But I decided to go ahead and Falcon Punch the Thanos. And I thought about the Skrull. I did target him. And I said, well, maybe he's low enough. And I've done that before, and he's not been. So I said, let's go ahead and take care of the Thanos, because I'm pretty sure we can kill him. And then we should be able to get the rest of the team with no problem, because the main thing now is to kill the Pavr, because he will be, of course, after Skrull O's the next biggest threat. Ideally, though, I said I better go ahead and ability block the Gladiator, because he still hadn't done his special. And that just keeps the team pretty safe. Apoc stays alive. And now when Logan has claws out, so it's pretty much game over. And you see the Gladiator dies, the Pavr dies. And so I believe Docking goes, and Docking is going to make sure that the Ultimates dies. So it's a pretty easy safe counter, but in most cases, I don't think you can spare Apoc and Old Man Logan on the same battle, as we've come into these last couple weeks, and guys have learned how to really put together some defenses that are pretty extreme. And so I've seen guys use on me, and there's no blade, just going in with a Tangle Web team, big time Spider-Man. So I said, well, Kestrel will be great. Take in Infinity Wire Man, make Kestrel stronger. The team is still super slow. It's still the same type of counters if it was the entire Darkhold. The difference is they don't get the barrier, and they don't get, if you had Strange, they don't get any type of crit damage or anything like that. So you just kind of play it the same way. The only difference, I think, is that Agatha is stronger, and you have to control the Moon Knight. But Moon Knight is fragile, so you see here that special takes him down a bit. Well, actually, it wasn't this special, it's this special. So once he starts taking on a little damage, I'm like, well, I'm not going to focus on him a whole lot. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go in and take care of the Morgan and the Agatha, as I feel like they're the bigger threats. I was hoping this would change to the Agatha, but it's okay to change the Moon Knight, block the Morgan just to make sure she doesn't do her special, make sure I keep the blind up, the charge is going, and just playing it safe. You see the pings are really strong with Kestrel because you got Infinity War Iron Man. And so it just kind of plays the same way. There's no real danger. My team is on full health. It's not great efficiency, but it's a good way to use tunes that you're not going to use anywhere else. And that really allowed me to just say, well, in this type of situation, I can go in with the Superior 6 first or second on an Orchis with a dorm, and then that way I would not have dropped 2 rooms. I would only drop it once, and perhaps Superior 6 can one-shot it. That's something I'm gonna have to try next time, because when I see the dorm, it's like, well, New Warriors don't have enough gas in the tank. Maybe this team does, and maybe they don't, because at the end of the day, I would have both, hopefully, to use, and it may take 2 hits to kill this team. And I think that's what guys are looking for, so that's why you're going to see a dorm in here. I would actually run this team myself because I do like how it plays out in Room 6, but I like better dorm with Nightcrawler and Alpha Flight, because that usually is something that throws guys off, because they're totally not used to battling it and haven't seen it much, so it trips a lot of guys up. But you see I got that clear. It's pretty easy cleanup. And so since I have Cabal and I have Kang, it's like, well, let's just go in with Ultimus and we'll make light work of this room. There's not much to the targeting here. I mean, you got to hit Bishop. He's got Nightcrawler next to Bishop. That's a help. So I'm going to slow Nightcrawler and the Rogue. And basically, because I could have hit Nightcrawler there. Maybe that would have killed him. But I was more concerned with controlling the Forge. And I didn't know who Nightcrawler was going to hit. It caught me off guard that it was the Iron Patriot, but it doesn't really matter because everybody in here is a hitter. So Namor goes, and you see that the Forge is dead. So now the targeting goes to Nightcrawler. Cabal is really strong, so with all those assists, Nightcrawler's gone, and then Kang is up, and so it just makes it nice, quick, and an easy counter to what he had in here, which I'm pretty sure he was expecting to be beat easily. He's just trying to make sure you use something decent, like I don't think you necessarily need a Cabal, but like a Cabal or like a Superior 6 or something like that, so that it's not used somewhere else. And so I'm going in with the sacks here. These are just sacks to not pull abilities. So you'll see this team, then you'll see the next team. And then my thought was at first to use Superior 6. I'd have felt more confident. But at the end of the day, Secret Defenders is faster than this team. And so the thought process was, with Black Cat, do I stun the Weaver or do I stun the Mephisto? I said, well, Mephisto's always a bigger threat, so let's stun him. And then I thought about, so Robbie is still faster than Weaver because there's no 99. So then we'll just block the Weaver, and then this should be pretty easy to go after that, because Secret Defenders Eternals will play it out the same way as they always have. So after that special on the Weaver, the goal now is just to target Mephisto. And well, actually here, I decided to blind here, because it's like, well, you'll take care of the penny just in case. And then it's like, okay, on to Mephisto. We're going to do an ult from Icarus. Then we're going to do the ult from Robbie. And then I believe it's the ult from, we get the passive here, another passive, and then we have the ult from Cersei. And so it's pretty much game over.